Thank you.
Yeah.
Scott, are you ready? Scott, are you ready? Okay, we're ready to get started.
Oh, there's a 10 pin, 10 pin.
Okay, we're ready to start the board meeting.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We will call the meeting to order. Welcome to our Tuesday, March 22nd board meeting, our Foothills Governance Board. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is to approve the presented agenda. Having Chair, you met us up everyone.
I did.
Several days ago. Hope you've had a chance to review board members. Chair will entertain a motion for our agenda. Second, any discussion? In favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we have an agenda. Next order of business is to approve the minutes from January the 18th. These have also been sent out. Hope you've had time to review those, and we'll entertain a motion to approve our January 18th minutes. We have a motion. And a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Our minutes are approved. Pause just for a moment. Our Kim Sherman, do we have any public comments? Public comments. We'll go right into our superintendent reports. We have several items to review.
Correct. And as we've already passed out the update with personnel, and there's really nothing significant there, but all the changes are highlighted in yellow, attachment 2A. And 2B are all the recommendations that we've made for this week. Student enrollment, right now we're at 2,740 students as of February 28th. You'll see all the different reports per site. And then we have the student newsletter. As you know, we have two newsletters, one that's focused on students and one that focuses on the program. And so the two student newsletters are here for your graduates. As of February 28th, we have 154 graduates. That's picking up steam. As a matter of fact, we'll be sending out more. We'll put on your list all the graduation dates, those are now have been set and we're ready to roll. Since Foothills opened in 2015, we've had 1,664 graduates. These are young people that didn't think they'd graduate from high school. They're now out there contributing to our great state. And moving to our programs, we continue to work on academic accountability, and we're making great progress. And what you've got here are reports per site, per subject, per area. I'm very focused on making sure students are successful. At this point, we've given 267 in-course tests, and we've made great improvements in our achievement. I will say right here with the course with our virtual site, Scott and I have found a challenge trying to get locations for the students because they're virtual. They're all throughout the state. And so we have to spend a lot of energy making sure that we can get those kids tested. And I will point out that Mountain Ed and Coastal have been great partners in helping us get those kids tested across the state. The next part is looking at option A and option D. And just want you to have some information. We're really pressing hard on this, making sure our students understand their options. And we're setting up structures so that not only the staff, but the students and their parents are aware of these options and how it can impact them going forward. And so we've got a lot of plans in place. We talked about that during our board training about the different things that we're doing related to this. And students need to know they have this option. Not they have to take it, but they have to be totally aware that this is opportunities out there. Let me just pause right there and see if there are any program questions since we have staff. Moving forward, financial updates. You have that 9A and 9B. And Bonnie, if you will briefly talk about that.
Sure. So you have the January and February, revenues to expenditures report, and I'll just focus on revenues. We're right where we expected to be with about 66% of our revenues in place. We've spent about 47% of what we were budgeting. We're adding, Sherry mentioned this earlier, we're adding between $650,000 and $700,000 a month to our fund balance. We're going to continue to spend conservatively because we don't know what the outcome will be in 2024. But right now, as of February 28th, our fund balance was almost $20.5 million. So I expect it to be closer to $22 million at the end of the year. And just to put that in perspective, our overall budget was a little over 25 million. So that's just our revenues and expenditures. Any questions about that? Safe to say we're in really good shape. And
can I just make one comment? And this is an editorial meeting because a lot of our legislators will point out the size of our fund balance. And we have talked about our funding level and knowing the formula that we have designed would reduce that.
yes, we've been trying to get money back.
We've been
for
trying
2
to
years.
get back money for 7 years now, and they are not accepting.
That's right.
Plan A for our board members, if you haven't seen it, to your point, suggests a reduction of about $6.5 million. That's right, right, Bonnie?
That's exactly right.
Offer the same services, and say the state that amount of money.
That's right.
That's exactly
Informally been rejected because we can't get it.
That's right. Because we can't get the rest of the plan in place. That's right. And that's just for 1 year. So I mean, that just continues to grow. And it's a formula not just for us, but for Mountain Ed and Coastal as well, who would be reducing their revenues and giving the state money back to spend on other things that they need, but they're not willing to accept it. So we're continuing to take it and put it in our bank so that we can operate with whatever our new funding formula ends up being. Back to what Sherry was saying, there's no reason for anyone to panic at this point. So the other statement in there is just our standard First Citizens investment account. And, we've talked about it, we've looked at with that large fund balance, we only have $7.5 million invested right now. I was going to bring a recommendation to you to invest more, but if you notice, we're losing because of the economy, some of our investment. So I'm holding up on that a little bit, and Sherry and I need to talk about this, but we may bring back to you in May, the want to put some money in Georgia Fund 1, where we'll just get a fixed rate and it won't be as fluctuating. And for those of you that have worked with Georgia Home Loan, you know, as interest rates rise, they rise quicker than banks. So that may be a better investment strategy. So we'll bring back another proposal in May. And then last on 9A is just the standard grants listing that lists all of our grants, the amounts that we've drawn down and what we've got left for the rest of the year. So that's there for January and February, and we're progressing along nicely there as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I left out Heartland because I just feel like they're part of us now, since they're never gonna become Heartland, but we're still maintaining separate Heartland expenditures and revenues and keeping track of that. So that if at one point they become their own school district, we'll have that ability to separate and understand, you know, where either how much we owe them or how much they owe us. So that's attachment 9A. And then 9B was just something that Sherry asked me to put together that just kind of highlights a discussion that we continue to have, and I am sure you're continuing to have in your local districts, which is where our revenues are now, which is high, especially with the ESSER funding that we all have in place that we're all trying to spend, and getting different opinions on how that can be spent. And so we of course are projecting, just like you all to have another good year of ESSER funding, and then to begin to worry about what's going to happen in FY25, because ESSER funds will go away. Some of the state funding is coming from some of that federal money, so we don't know how that will impact the state budget, which then in turn will impact QBE. So for Foothills, we've got that question mark, just like you do in a traditional site, as well as what is our funding formula going to be and what are we going to get beyond QBE. So we just wanted to kind of give you that picture and just let you know we are talking about that and trying to make different plans based on what the different outcomes may be. And I'm still in tune and talk with the CFOs at Northeast Region at least once a month, you know, about what they're seeing and what they're thinking and how it's all going to impact us. So that's just a little notes and highlights of what we're thinking. So.
On any FY21 audit concerns, we're good.
No, our FY21 audit is done. We were finished even before Decatur County sent out their letter about, and we didn't spend any of our ESSER funds on existing personnel for 1 and 2. Now we do have some in 3 that we may have to either do a budget amendment and take it out, or I just saw the new, you know, email on Thursday that just came from Richard Woods and basically said the federal government approved we could spend it on any teacher salary or anything. So
finally got, and I brought that up to make sure you're aware of it.
Yeah.
In case you haven't heard. Finally, DOE finally got USAID and
Right.
state audit on the same call.
right,
And USAID clarified, no, that's exactly our intent. So,
Yeah.
you know, we weren't going to have a finding, but some districts are getting a finding, but now they clarified, but it shouldn't be the case.
That's right.
So we should be good to go, not even have to rebook it.
as a matter of fact, when I saw that Thursday, I was wondering if they were gonna go back and correct some audits that they basically should redo, in my opinion. But the big thing we're looking at too, and I'm sure I probably should have mentioned this, is, you know, the supplement that is in the governor's amended budget, and then the $2,000 increase for next year. We're looking at the $2,000 increase as part of our FY23 budget. And then as the supplement, we'd like to do something similar to what we did with the first supplement. And if you remember, we don't get a large portion of that from the state. So we would move that to ESSER funds and amend what we have planned our ESSER funds to do. So we're in process with that. We'll bring back more information on that.
Move on to the second page.
Oh, sorry, just the second page is just the standard FY23 budget timeline. Nothing really unique there. I guess, Lori, this is your first time going through the budget process with us, but we're working on right now, just looking at the revenues and expenditure detail. I've already sent out several budget suggestion form requests. If you all have anything that you'd like for us to consider to include or not include in the budget, you know, please just give me that information and we will compile it all and put it all together for you and bring it back in May. And I do have some suggested dates out there that I should probably mention. The 24th, I believe, Sherry, is our regular meeting. Sherry Christie's our regular May meeting. And so I'm suggesting that we just meet 30 minutes prior. That's what we did last year for our first hearing.
It is.
And then have a called meeting June 21st, which was the same week and day that we had it. I think we had it like on the 20th last year, the 21st this year. Just have the second hearing at 3:30 and then a call meeting with, just that one mandatory item of approval of the budget on the 21st. But either of those can change. That's just suggested at this point.
Moving right along. They asked me about, I said, print it, I want to see those zeros. The COVID update, we're doing great. Everybody's healthy. We've had very little notice, but they no longer require this. I asked Donna to continue collecting this data. This could change, but right now we're in a good place. Okay, unemployment. And when Greg left, he's helped us with the transition, and Dan Murphy has learned about unemployment and he's engaged with that process with us. And he's done great. And I asked Bonnie's staff to prepare just a simple at a glance. If you look at attachment 11, we have 88 people who requested some support, some reimbursement, and we have 8 that are still in process, and 80 that have been approved. And some of our people of the 80 are on a payment plan, and then we have 61 that are complete, and that's 110,000. So much has been reimbursed. But you see that overall, though, we have 9,349 claims. Because some individuals had more than one claim. And that's the information that we shared with the legislator who wrote it yesterday. And he has stepped forward, and I already forgot his name.
He's from White County. Anderson?
Victor
Anderson. From
Anderson.
Victor Anderson.
Yeah, he
from White
wanted
County.
all our business, but when I talked to Dan, I said, we can't do that. And so what we're doing is we're letting people to opt in to talk to him, to share their business. So that's where we've gone with that. But, we did have Todd Jones who stepped forward and said, I want to help you with this, but there hasn't been any traction. But our, the department, it's just been really bad. Can I tell you, I don't know how else to say it. The way they've handled this unemployment has been amazing. There's no communication at all. And according to Dan and Greg, this is what's happened to not just school districts, but businesses around the state. They're just not communicating.
And people are planning on a tax refund and then getting these letters saying your refund's been sent to Department of Labor.
So they're garnishing their tax refunds now.
So that may happen to some of you may hear about that. If they're one of your days. Have them email the unemployment help desk.
We're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, but just know that's out there. Any questions? All right, moving to legal representation. Just to be clear, and this, Nathan and I talked about this. This is an annual event to acknowledge, who our legal representation is, and it's Dan Murphy. It is from the law offices of Daniel R. Murphy. He is our, and any request for him comes from me, so I'm always aware of things. And I believe we have that down, Nathan, as
It's an action item, yeah.
action
We
item.
brought this up to Sherry, and now that we're under the DOE, even though some things are different, we all as board, as superintendents know that every year our board by law has to elect a superintendent, has to approve superintendent. Law firm, sorry.
You do that too.
Conversation with Dan will officially approve that firm as the board's attorney.
That way there's no question. Thank you. Then student immunization incentive, we have that update for you. Remember, kids got a vaccination, they were offered $50. And so we had 60 that were submitted, and of those 52 met the deadlines and everything. And so we have 52 kids who received the $50. That's 52 souls that probably won't get COVID. We'll take that. Would have liked to have been more, but that's what happened. Legislative update, I think I gave that. Were there any other questions? Maurice, I'm going to get you that one. Front and sell tickets too. Absolutely. She owes you an audience.
Yes.
I said the governor.
Now we're talking. Okay. All right. Let us know if you need a ride. We'll get you.
We got gas cards too.
I think I've actually have a meeting with him on the 28th.
There you go.
March.
Can we prepare you a little packet?
I just have it, yes, that would be great.
We'll prepare your packet. I think our funding and our concept, okay, you're on that call.
I got it.
10 o'clock.
Nothing would please us more. If you want,
Yeah.
Free to
I'll take it
drive.
with me.
I can go with you.
I will have to ask.
She said I will take
You got it.
It's paperwork. We'll get you the paperwork. All right, but we gotta get this has got to come to closure. It's ridiculous. Our FTE count, the numbers are a little down, but this is at, post-COVID. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the numbers, truthfully. And, but it will impact our budget, and that's our attachment number 13. And you can see our FTE count for this last time. Kind of run your, and mind you, we don't show on here the kids who are Foothills Plus and the state excluded kids. We only show the ones that are FTE. So you're missing.
Sherry, this number is great. It's only 10 off of what our current allotment is.
Oh,
It was
because
the
they
previous two FTE counts coming right out of the pandemic. One was like 2,100, and those will go into our QBE allotment sheet over the next 18 months. So I'm glad this is back where we were, or close to it.
Questions about that? Baldwin in particular, Maurice, we're super proud of Baldwin. Because we had struggled to get even 100 kids there, but they don't have any trouble. They're just knocking out of the park. This is another recognition of our special ed department that we got before. It's showing that we have met our disproportionality marks. And thank you to Melanie and her team for making this happen. This is not casual. And our strategic plan update, I think we just saw that. Is there anything else? And I think like September would give time for these committees to meet, to take what was said today, and we'll have a draft in September.
Absolutely.
That's okay. And if you think of something later, we're always happy to take it. The Cognia accreditation preparation timeline, Todd went through that. The week of March the 5th is our targeted date. The woman who did our accreditation for us before, her name is Cheryl, has agreed to do it for us again.
Wow,
She was
that's great.
She was so smart and so aware and asked all the right questions. And so we're very grateful that we were able to get her to agree to that.
Is she open to team members on the team?
It's not even official yet, so we.
Oh, I shouldn't say that.
No, well, we kind of back channeled it, because we actually haven't been able to officially reserve a date, but I never knew that you could even make that request. I just kind of always assumed otherwise.
Oh, we're not gonna make a request.
So-
They might want to be part of the team to help their own.
Oh, absolutely. No, no.
Mountain Ed person might come and learn.
Absolutely. No, I was saying, I didn't know you should even request your lead facilitator.
Oh, you
so
can request one.
if you can do that, then.
And then Scott has,
Yeah,
Just recently.
I've served for Mountain Ed, I'm serving for Coastal, so they owe us. And so generally what we do is once you get to be qualified and be on a team, then you can ask. So I aim to ask them to ask.
because Wayne being on our team the first time was golden. We never would have made it had Wayne Lovell not been sitting on it, because they could not understand what we did. So, but any strategies with that, we're happy to hear. Is there anything else with that, Tom?
I think we covered it.
Thank you. Then we have 6 policy revisions, and there's really nothing significant, except for Dan did it instead of Greg. Yeah, so that's the change. So
Just
those
initial
are,
approval or approval and implementation, just approve to allow on the table.
well, we've been just having them sit on the table for the 30
Sounds good.
days. And so if we could just put them out on the table for 30 days, the 6 policies, and all the changes are in red. We'll go through all those. There's nothing really significant. And then exemplary board governance board status, we've talked about. Unless, is there anything else? And, okay, now we need to pause and look. Foothills Governance Board elections and officers. We need to take care of that. You want to speak to that?
I just asked Sherry to just think through when we established the rolling board member setup. We just wanted to make sure that it was going to time right now that we're off and running and we have the staggered board members. We didn't want to hit in a year or two where, you know, we just wanted an easy, smooth flow. So I just asked her to double check and we've got a visual. We'll probably look at it as an attachment. I think it's going to work out okay.
Yeah, and we regrouped our sites so that all of them are part of the, either the large, medium, or small, which caused some changes. So large is now Barrow, Clark, Jackson, and Walton. And the medium is Baldwin, Franklin, Madison, and Morgan. And small, Green, Jasper, Oglethorpe, Social Circle. So those are the 3 new groupings. And that's strictly based on it. So how those-
Large, we have a corrections board member, and we have a RISA representative, executive director, and the next up, if I remember the sheet right, would be Beverly's position. We talked about that, Beverly, at the end of this year. Is that right, Sherry?
That's correct.
That position, that term went in, and then the small districts would gather the 4 small districts, and they would decide who of the 4 would represent that position. It could be reelected, it could be one of the other 2. That's it.
Okay, for FY '23, which is the one we're going in. Right now, we have Maurice in FY '22 and '23, so she's 7. And then for the small, currently we have Beverly, but that'll be open. So for the small, that is Green, Jasper, Oglethorpe, and Social Circle. And so what we did last time that seemed to work out is that those 4 superintendents would decide amongst themselves who will represent you on the board. And that's really the only conversation that needs to go out there. So Beverly, if you could work with Green, Jasper, Oglethorpe, and Social Circle, and you can return. That's an option. So that one piece, and Nathan, I think if we could have that by our May board meeting, and then at our May board meeting, we will need to have new officers elected. And then that we'll be ready to start July 1.
Sounds great.
If I follow that one, does that make
Yes,
sense?
I just would like that document attached. It's not as part of that or sent to us.
Oh, absolutely. Would you put that, this little, okay, we'll take care of that right now. As a matter of fact, pass it down. Okay, and then we went ahead and set the governance board meeting dates for next year, and that's attachment 16. We just followed exactly what we did this year, and we tag on to the RISA board meetings, and that's what you got there. Of course, if something comes up, we can make changes if we need to. And then the superintendent evaluation. The form.
Board members, we're all emails, we have a copy of the superintendent's evaluation. We've all, again, providing feedback. We've got some back and forth, finalize that evaluation, and our May meeting is virtual. I'm thinking, right? No, we don't have to.
No, we do have. a
But it's
meeting.
virtual.
It's all virtual.
So what's the best way, remember what we did last year,
I did.
time wise?
We know how to do a if we could do a
Breakout.
private breakout.
executive session breakout. Is that okay with the board members to plan for that at our May Zoom?
So we'll have that on the agenda for Kristen, you got that executive session for me. Okay, then we have executive session, and this should be very brief. So if you're not on the board, if you will exit.
Chair will entertain a motion. Go into executive session, to discuss personnel.
It's Scott.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
And who is the second?
Executive session after the.
Oh,
You
good.
guys would like to sign it while you're here.
We have personnel, you can imagine, it's 1,000 people. And I told Nate that whenever there's something that comes up, I always tell him so that he's aware and bring it here. We had a training for our registrars, and some of them were virtual and some were in training. Is that true? Oh, okay. And everything went.
We're good, I'm not.
Boarding school in Vermont.
Where's the bench?
Okay. Chair, entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? We are out of executive session. We're back in our regular session. Our next item are action items, and we have 5 action items. And if the board is okay with that, we'll take these in a consent format. Any objection to that? We have approval of personnel. We have the approval of our January 22 financials. We have the approval of the 22-23 calendar as presented, approval of legal representation, the office of Dan Murphy, and the approval of surplus computers. Motion to approve these as consent.
So moved.
Have moved in second to approve all 5 as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Items are approved. Meeting dates, you see the remainder dates there, May 24th, 4 p.m., Zoom call. Anything else for the good of the group before we adjourn?
I just want to thank the board and staff for today. You know, Todd, for your leadership in preparing this and learning and figuring out Foothills. That's no easy task. And for board attending, we totally appreciate and respect the time it takes to join us for this time. We hope it was helpful going forward, and if there's anything we can do, just let us know.
Thanks for that, and thanks to the team for your work and preparation today. We've got a great team, and it's evident in the hard work that's been shown today, so thanks for that. Anything else, board members? If not, motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Second. All in favor? We are adjourned.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Lori.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Safe travel.
Thanks.